Yeah, and it's always good to be here to serve you the best breakfast in this part of the country. It's really a packed show today, isn't it?
It is.
So much to discuss.
Akua is going to join us. What are we discussing with her?
Yeah, we're looking for food for good mood.
Ooh, and it does exist actually. There are certain meals you eat and you're like, I feel better already.
Exactly.
And then later we're gonna make a sandwich, tuna sandwich. So if you don't know how to make them, do you make tuna sandwich at home?
My wife does.
So today you're gonna learn how to do it.
Yeah, sure.
But guys, it is an interactive show, so wherever you're watching us from, we want to hear from you. Use the hashtag Breakfast Daily for us to hear what you're thinking.
All right, so my name is Tuffour Boateng.
And I am Dziffa, Ametam. And of course, our WhatsApp line also is 0550585832. Now, every morning we start the show off with our quote. So we're taking a look at our quote of the day. And it says here, this is coming from Joseph Campbell. He says, we must be willing to let go of the life we planned so as to have the life that is waiting for us. We must be willing to let go of the life we planned so as to have the life that is waiting for us. And I think this is so important because sometimes you have this plan in your head. I want to be this, I want to be that, and we can become so fixated on that we lose sight of whatever destiny it is that God wants us to live out. So as you're walking through life, yes, be strict about the kinds of things you need to do to get to where you want to be, but be flexible about the path you're going to take. Because sometimes you're thinking, this is who I want to be, this is what I want to become, but God and nature actually would want you to be something else, and it is by letting go of that fixation you have that you can actually truly manifest whatever destiny you're meant to live.
No, that's true. I mean, man proposes, God disposes. Yeah. Sometimes we're too fixated on one particular thing and then we forget our other strengths, our other talent, and it goes against that. So if that one thing fails, then you're stuck wherever you are. But if you're willing to let go of that and allow room for other avenues, then you know you're making some progress there. I mean, it's always, I keep saying that know a little about everything and not everything about one thing.
Yeah. What does that mean?
So study a lot, like open up to other options. Don't stay fixated on one particular thing and that thing only. I mean, let's say in school you're good at maths. And so you're dedicating all your time to mathematics. What of science? What of social studies? What of English? So you're scoring an A in mathematics and then Fs in all other subjects. You are a failure.
But you know, sometimes it's difficult because especially when you're exceptional at a particular subject, let's say you're really good with English, you're the best writer in your class, your teachers have a certain expectation of you. Then you walk into math class and you don't get your basics right. You're constantly getting the equations wrong. If you're not used to feeling like a new kid in the class and you're always used to being that one who's exceptional, it can be a very difficult process to go through because here you are, you're failing at something, there are people who are better at it than you are, and it does something to your confidence. And I think this is where mindset comes in, where you have to tell yourself that this is new, I'm not used to this, and I have to take it one step.
Because the figures are shooting up so much. Now we have an average, 600 cases per day, which is very, very, very dangerous.
Yeah, and for me, I think we've arrived at a point where we all need to find an accountability partner. So wherever you spend most of your time, if you spend majority of your time at work, if you spend majority of time in school, this is a time to find someone you trust to say, please hold me accountable when I begin to let my guard down. Because sometimes we forget. You see your friends, you guys are eating, and then you throw caution to the wind. One of them might have the virus, and they'll pass it on to you, and you will pass it to someone who may not survive it. And you don't want to be the person who would, contribute to someone dying early. We can't afford those recklessness. We can't afford to put our lives at risk. So wherever you find yourself, reach out to somebody and tell them, please hold me accountable when you see me slacking. Draw my attention to the fact that I'm not wearing my face mask as frequently as I used to. I'm not using my hand sanitizers. I'm not practicing social distancing. We need to look out for one another because we all have to get through this together.
Yeah.
And again, we've seen countries like Italy, United States, so many different countries crumble.
Yeah.
Spain. I mean, the list is endless. And these are countries that had better health care infrastructure than we have.
Yeah.
They have all the machinery you can think of. Their doctor-to-patient ratio
is way better than
way
ours.
better than us. The World Health Organization standard for doctor-to-patient ratio is supposed to be 1 doctor to 1,000 patients. In Ghana, we have 1 doctor to 10,000 patients.
Yeah.
And now some of our doctors have tested positive. That means they have to isolate.
Yeah.
The same people that we need in the hospitals are fighting for their lives.
Yeah.
Which means more of us would have to deal with 1 doctor. And they are going to burn out because they are human beings. We cannot continue being reckless and risking the lives of selfless health professionals.
Yeah.
So please, we get it. We are fortunate enough, most of us are going to go on and survive and be asymptomatic. But let's make it a target to not even get coronavirus in the first place.
That's
for
true.
the sake of our selfless, committed health workers.
That's true. That's true. And then, of course, lifestyle changes as well. We need to adapt and accept the fact that we're not in normal times. So please, lifestyle changes. Let's eat the fruits, the veggies.
I've been eating
Let's
so
boost
well
our
these
immune
days.
system. I mean, we need to do that to survive this. Listen, the rate at which the figures are rising, it's obvious coronavirus is not going anywhere anytime soon. So please make the changes in your lives. Let's adapt to the new normal and let's.
There are 4 schools that had it,
Yeah.
and now there are 14 schools that have coronavirus. And I'm thinking, what's going to happen to these students?
Yeah.
A lot of workplaces, Cocoa Board, we've heard of the Finance Ministry.
Yeah.
Now FDA has been
Gridco,
added to that list,
Bust.
Gridco, Bust, and now they're in our schools.
Yeah.
And for me, when I hear it, and I read it this morning, I mean, the schools, Maoli Senior High School has 3 cases, Maoko 1 case, Bishop Herman College 2 cases,
Archbishop
Dabula,
Porter
yes, Archbishop Herman College 2 cases, Dabula Technical School 3 cases. In Takrade, we have Archbishop Porter Girls 1 case, Ahantaman Girls another 1 case there, Diabene Senior High School,
Yeah,
1 case,
as well.
Adiembra, 1 case. You go on to Nzima East in Sian Senior High School, 8 cases. Suhum Senior High Technical School, 1 case. In total, 35 students out of the over 300,000 students have contracted coronavirus. Now we have to deal with contact tracing.
Yeah.
Where have these students been? Can they even account for each
places
and
have
every
been,
person
whoever
they've
they've come
been
into
around?
contact
You know, because
with.
there are other
I mean,
countries where before they even opened schools, they started this new stress yourself figuring out who you've been with and how we can trace them. If we are closing down workplaces that record a few cases, even workplaces that we don't have the results yet, because the Finance Ministry, they're still awaiting their results. If you're closing down these institutions, is it about time we started figuring out how to contain the spread, in our schools? I mean, I was one of the first people to say that I do agree that the country can't to be globally competitive, but it shouldn't be at the expense of their lives.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, with this, but the danger is before I show symptoms, I may not show symptoms at all. So before I am tested and it's confirmed I have it, how many people would I have infected? That is where the danger is. Now we're concentrating on the students only. What of their teachers? And these teachers go home and back. Their families back at home. How many people are they infecting? On their way home, do they join commercial transport? How many people do they come into contact with? Will they even remember their faces? Do they know them? Do they have their contact details? Do they have their home addresses? How do we get them? So like I'm saying, it behoves on each and every one of us to take up that responsibility of protecting ourselves. And talk of the teachers, there was that of the Akua girls teacher together with his wife. So it's obvious one teaches in the school, one doesn't, but one contracted and sent it home to the partner. And that's the danger. Imagine the partner also goes to the workplace without knowing.
Then they spread it.
That's how community infection spreads. So I think we really need to be careful. We have an insert from Accra girls, that the previous one, of course. Let's take a look at what happened there and see what lessons we can draw from that.
My name is Reverend Lawe.
Reverend Lawe. Reverend, do you have a ward here?
I have my daughter here.
She's in final year student?
She's a final year student.
Have you been able to speak to her?
She managed to get a phone and called us and told us that the coronavirus is in the school. 6 of their colleagues have caught the virus. And then we managed to get a teacher here, 2 teachers and then 1 mistress. They told us, yes, they confirmed what the girl told us, that the coronavirus, yes, is in the school here. We tried calling the headmistress, we couldn't go through. PTA, we have a platform, we sent messages and no response. So we were forced to come to see what is happening here. We came. And then all we heard was that the children are in safe hands. But we saw an ambulance pick some children and some teachers.
That was today?
Yes, today. So if the children are in safe hands, what's the ambulance picking the children, you know? So all we are asking is they should release the children for us. We'll take them home because we don't know what is going to happen.
What protocols did they take you through when you brought your children?
Okay, when I brought my daughter, there was a nurse or a student or a teacher or some, I don't know. But sitting down with the thermometer gun, hand washing, searched their boxes and took unwanted items that they brought in the school. They took them away. But that's all. That's all. I don't know whether after we left, whether they test their blood or whatever it is, but that's the only protocol they did.
And based on what you saw that day, through that protocol, were you comfortable leaving your child?
I have no choice because the president assured us that our kids will be in the safer hand and everything is in place. So based on what the president said, we trusted that things will go well until today.
So do you regret that you brought your child here and today this situation is happening?
If you put percentage on the regret, I would say 300%. I've regretted. Even my daughter did not want to come, but I have to force her to come because I said maybe the president will do what they said they are doing.
But let me speak to another parent. Madam, what's your name?
I'm Eunice Davis.
Okay. Eunice, do you have a daughter here?
Yes.
Okay. Have you seen her? Have you been able to speak to her?
I've not seen her. I've not been able to speak to her, and I want to see her at least. They should let us see their children. Let us know they are okay. The authorities to come out to tell us something so we know what to do. But we are just here like that. The police is not allowing us to go inside to see our children. Nothing is going on. We are here.
When did you get here?
I was here around 2 hours now.
So how did you hear this news?
On the television, the social media, everywhere. Is the people are calling me too. We have parent platform. If we chat there, they don't give us any feedback.
This platform was set up for the final year students. Okay.
And go track.
Okay.
So we are all chatting here. All of a sudden, they don't. If you ask questions, they don't answer you again. We are not hearing anything, and we cannot stay in the house just like that. You see, even if they tell us that okay, they are taking care of their children, they want to test them, or we should give them 14 days. After the 14 days, we know what will come out because we know we cannot take the children to the house. You see, for me today, my coming here is come and take my child and send the child to the hospital so that they will do the test. If she's okay, I take her home. If she's not okay, I leave her with the hospital. So I know that because now I don't know whether My child is part of the ones the ambulance came for. I don't know.
Me ba ewa now I form 2 students. Me ne ba week. Me stay for 1 week. I said I'm me ba basel. Is it safe? It's my friend Mistress back when say, is it safe for our children to come to the body because they are not in the body? They are a day student. Me ba a day student. Is it safe for her to come to the body? You know, so
she's now sleeping here.
She's now in the school now. It is Saturday no first say. You better say ambulance. I better say Korani bi. Na so enyo mo do mo ho different do no na dan fokura e ka ho bi. It means na dan for come bet means they are
together in a way.
Together in at least if they are outside. And na aduane so no mo can be.
So there you have it. A couple of weeks ago at Akua Girls Senior High School, parents panicking, being paranoid, rightly so, because you hear from the president of the country that take your children to school.
Yeah.
We are going to provide PPE. We are going to do A, B, C, D to ensure that they are safe.
Yeah.
And then you hear this situation that has happened that, you know, someone has coronavirus.
Yeah.
And how do you move on from that? As a parent, you're thinking all sorts of things. The same way if you were in a workplace and you heard someone has coronavirus, you would expect the administration, whoever it is, the management of that workplace, to put in place measures to ensure that you're safe. Immediately isolate the people who have the coronavirus, provide them with psychological support because it's important. Then stay on top of things by letting the people who are left know that you're going to fumigate the place, you're going to beef up the distribution of personal protective equipment, you're going to do everything possible to ensure that you do not spread the virus. If we don't continue with that, it will be very difficult to not expect parents to behave the way these parents are behaving.
Yeah.
Because it's difficult to let go of your child willingly, and you trust that the system you're in will protect that child.
Yeah.
So we need to get to the point where we have to answer some really tough questions. Are we willing to do everything possible to protect our students? That means giving them way more PPE than we initially said we were going to give. Ensuring that they isolate.
PPE? That's also very important.
Quality PPE.
Yeah.
They isolate themselves. Every single assembly should start with how we are going to protect ourselves and our friends because we love them. We have to embed it in the students, because even as adults, if we are finding it difficult to comply, how more senior high school final year students and junior high school final year students, it's going to be difficult. So we need to make it a habit, protecting yourself and protecting your friends because you love them. So you won't go hugging them, you won't go touching them. If we don't do that, then we need to get to a point where we need to ask ourselves, are we better off closing these schools? We won't lose anything if we lose one school year. It won't be the first time in the country's history that we've done that. It's probably the first time that it's justifiable to do so. So I don't get it.
I agree. I mean, Nigeria has closed down the schools again. They've cancelled the WAEC and all that. But then, you see, one thing we're not really hammering on is the provision of health posts on these school campuses. Yeah, I mean, we keep saying that we have those infirmaries and all that, but you and I know they're non-existent. I mean, it's not just on paper. You're sick on campus, and then just look at what happened at the KNUST Senior High School. And eventually, we understand when the child was tested, he didn't even have the COVID.
So what's the quality of teachers we even have in this school? Because it's one thing for us to hear from the president, it's one thing for us to believe in the GES and Ghana Health Service, and another thing to evaluate the quality of human beings who are teaching our children. And I keep saying that this period, we need to amplify our emotional intelligence. I don't care how smart you are as a teacher or how qualified you are to help my child pass WASI. If you don't have enough empathy to know that if my child is sick, you should help that child, you have no business being in the classroom.
That's true.
And these are the standards we need to start setting so parents know that if something, it beats my mind. First of all, the student was not exhibiting any signs or symptoms of coronavirus. That's not what happens when you have coronavirus.
Yeah.
And for a human being, someone that the parents have trusted for you to have the child's best interest, to sit aside and do absolutely nothing. Those are some of the things we need to start addressing. And if we can't guarantee 100% that the children will be safe, please,
then they have
let's
no
start the
business
conversation
being in
of closing down schools.
Yeah. I mean, it begs the question that the GHS and of course the GES told us that they are training heads of schools on COVID-19. But then, of course, with the cases we're seeing and kind of reactions that come after, I mean, what happened to communication? If you record a case on your campus, it is true you have recorded a case on the campus. You see, the students have their ways of communicating with their parents back at home and even their friends. So if an ambulance should storm into the school, pick a student and zoom back out, obviously there will be some level of anxiety amongst the students. And once they're able to communicate to their parents without school authorities doing same ahead of the students, that, of course, a mother's instinct, the parents' instincts, they'll be more than anxious, understandably so, to come get their wards out of the schools. So I think there should be a proper line of communication so that we know that, okay, if it's a weekly update, if it's a bi-weekly update, then you know for sure that this school has recorded this number of cases, that school has that number of cases, those persons have been isolated, these number of persons have been traced to these infected persons, and they are also being isolated pending their results or whatever it is. Then you know you're making some headway, and then we don't see the kind of confusion that occurred at Accra Girls last week. And then of course going forward, the health post on campus. Because if you had seen that video we aired on CNR with respect to the KNUST senior high school student, the mother was saying that if they had provided some first aid,
the kid would have been fine.
Just some first aid. And you see, I don't know how we behave around some of these issues. If you know where the KNUST senior high school is and you know where the tech hospital is, you'll be surprised that this kid was left to die.
It's
just a short distance, and nobody took it upon themselves to take this student to the hospital. At least there, they would have known what to do. And then we allow this kid just go just like that, and we will come and do the usual damage control, of course. But yes, like we're saying, the danger is out there. The GHS together with the Ghana Education Service have issued some directives, a number of them, some 200 personnel drawn from both services going around the schools, monitoring the situation closely. That's what they say. But what happened to education on the issue?
And for me,
I think the education should be constant, because we still have people who doubt the existence of coronavirus.
And beyond, well, those people, I don't even want to address those people. At this point, no one has an excuse to doubt coronavirus.
Exactly.
But we need to be a bit more transparent. You know, not just in schools, but our governments. We are all in this together. We understand that we're dealing with a pandemic. So if schools stay on top of things and let the parents know every single thing that is happening, there's nothing like over-communicating.
No.
Because once you fail to communicate, people will allow their own imaginations run wild. Their imaginations will and it will feed into their fears and all these imaginary things they have that are not existent, and they will react to that. So we need to get to a point where we need to be transparent. We need to hear from the Education Ministry, we need to hear from GES. If we think for a moment that we may need to pause and review certain things, let us do that. I find it sad that I hear more from the EC about the voter registration than I hear about the education sector. What's going on with these schools? What's happening with these students? We need daily updates on what we are doing to ensure that we contain the spread, we trace, we test, and we treat all students who will have COVID-19 and be very open and transparent about the entire exercise. That's
and in fact, at this point, you'd expect a bold statement from the Education Minister. I'm saying this because he himself is a surgeon, he himself a Minister of Education, and he himself, having recovered from COVID-19,
you know.
You'd expect a bold statement at this point. And then, of course, they promised not to do politics in the schools. But what are we seeing?
Anyway, you guys have sent in messages. You're on Facebook. You've joined us. Let me see some of the messages here. Oyibo Boateng says, from Etrima Nerebihi in Kumase, I can see that Ghanaians are not observing the COVID-19 protocols. This has led to the abnormal spread of the virus. If care is not taken, COVID-19 will shake the entire country. Greetings to Dr. Kingsley Nyako, incoming MP of Kwadaso constituency. Do we have some more messages there?
I think there's one here from Abdul Nasir Jallo, and he says, please, this time, this issue is not a political one. You'd please try and help us by stating the facts. It is not a problem you would want to politicize. Okay. And this is from Abdul Nasir Jallo.
Yeah, Ajwa Pokia says, children are the most vulnerable during this pandemic. They are playful and carefree. To think that the president asked them to go back to school beggars belief. Okay, thank you guys so much for staying. This is Breakfast Daily on City TV. I have a lot for you. My name is Dziffa Ametam.
And my name is Nana Tuffour. Remember, the show is interactive. Use the hashtag Breakfast Daily. And of course, the WhatsApp number 0550585832.
News reviews next. We will be right back.
There is no promise we cannot keep. There is no commitment we cannot honor. There is no delivery we cannot guarantee. There is only one Bethel Logistics Company Limited, a licensed international freight forwarding and clearing agent, a trusted global brand with an extensive network for the movement of air freight and ocean freight worldwide. We are the trusted name for road freight into Western and Northern Africa. We are fully accredited by Ghana Customs and Excise. We cater for all your freight forwarding, customs clearing and forwarding, cross trades, inland transportation, internal cargo tracking systems, customer freight costing and consultancy, cold chain logistics management, logistics and warehousing, quality inspection, and much more. In Accra, Tema and Takrady, we are always available to ensure easy movement of cargo countrywide. Call us on 0204 528 900 or 0244 707 859. Email info@bethellogistics.com. Locate us in Accra at North Ridge, adjacent Accra Girls High School, or in Tema at Community 4, or in Takrady on the second floor of the GCB building. Website bethellogistics.com. Bethlog, experts in shipping logistics.
Welcome back. This is Breakfast Daily on City. Thank you so much for staying with us. We'll take a look at our newspaper headlines, then some online stories, and then we'll introduce our guest who are already seated. We'll start off with the Daily Graphic. On the front page of the Daily Graphic, we have maintain healthy lifestyle. Habit strengthens immune system against COVID-19. That's coming from the Ghana Health Service. That story is on page 3. Bui Power to pay compensation from IGF. That story is on page 16. Electoral Commission 2020 Voters Registration Exercise Movement Plan Phase 3. That story is on page 64. Now we'll take a look at some more stories from the Ghanaian Times. On the front page of the Ghanaian Times, we have recovered from COVID-19. That's great news, and it's coming from the Volta Region Minister. That story is on page 3. Sanitation Ministry presents 5 pickups to GAF. That story is on page 14. EC begins 3rd phase of registration exercise. That story is on page 13. 10 more senior high schools hit by COVID-19. Maoli School, Bishop Herman, Archbishop Porter Girls, among others, affected. We're taking a look at that story shortly, and it's on page 12. We'll now take a look at the Chronicle. On the front page of the Chronicle, we have Afeku's accuser thrown in for 10 days for calling her a thief during radio discussion. That story is on pages 2 and 3. We have delivered our promises to Zongos. That's coming from Dr. Baumia. We'll now take a look at our final newspaper. I'm talking about the Finder. On the front page of the Finder, we have our promise to Zongos delivered. We will do more in 4 years, Dr. Baumia tells Chief Imam. That story is on page 9. Government ADB fund 1,300 subsidized outboard motors for fisherfolk. That story is on page 8. Dr. Awal commends EC for peaceful conduct of registration exercise. That story is on page 2. Disregard NDC's claim of security intimidation in Honuta. That's coming from MPP, and that story is on page 5. Electoral Commission Ghana, voter registration exercise 2020. Your safety is our concern. Thumbs up for do's and thumbs down for don'ts. Motto, transparency, fairness, and integrity. That's on page 12. We'll now take a look at some online stories from citynewsroom.com. 38 FDA workers recover from coronavirus. Ex-staff of savings and loans companies to be paid outstanding salaries related claims. Corruption Watch exposes how aspirants engaged in vote buying during NPP primaries. Akua holds virtual meeting with his 2020 campaign communications advisory team. Ghana's COVID-19 case count now 24,518. We'll take a look at some business news from citybusinessnews.com. On citybusinessnews.com, we have BOG to pre-finance. We'll take that again. BOG to pre-finance outstanding salaries of ex-staff of microfinance and SNL's firms. We need 40 million to renovate KIA runway to improve safety. That's coming from Kofi Adda. Ghana's stock market records 17% drop from January to June due to impact of coronavirus. A digital strategy critical for business growth post-COVID-19, Vodafone Ghana CEO. Will continue to invest in agribusiness, ADB pledges after giving out outboard motors. We'll now take a look at some more local news from NigeriaOnline.com. How candidates bought votes in MPP parliamentary primaries. Okay, finally, we'll look at some global news from BBC.com. Coronavirus. South Africa bans alcohol sales again to combat COVID-19. Of course, you can get all of your news from citynewsroom.com and all of your business news from citybusinessnews.com. And all of your coronavirus updates at citynewsroom.com/coronavirus. Now, it is an interactive show, so wherever you're watching us from, we want to hear from you. Use the hashtag BreakfastDaily to join the conversation. And the WhatsApp line is 0550-585832. If you're outside Ghana and you still want to contribute to the conversation, you can use the country code +233. I have been joined by lawyer Kwame Jantoa, who's a former vice chair of PIAC. Good morning, Lawyer Jantoa.
Good morning. How are you?
How are you?
I'm fine.
Thank you so much for being with us.
It's good to be here. How was your weekend?
It was good. How was yours?
Any fufu?
Oh, no. Now I'm all about, eating healthy.
It was jollof this time.
No. Phone you. We'll talk about that later. I also have with me Elvis Darko, who's the editor of The Finder. Good morning, Elvis.
Morning.
How are you? How's your weekend?
Not bad.
Okay.
Not bad.
What would have made it great?
If I had 2 days not doing anything, it would have been greater.
But you were bored during the COVID season when you had all the time to yourself.
Oh, that period was like some
Punishment.
free leave period. But after a week, you realize that the house is so boring. Very, very boring. And I don't want that. At least 2 days in the weekend and then... But I can't have my Sunday because I have to go and produce Monday's paper.
Wow.
So every week I only have my Saturday.
But thank you for the contributions you're making to our development.
We are doing a little bit.
Let's take a look at our first story. I'm reading from citynewsroom.com, and it says COVID-19 case count now 24,518. So the 270 new cases have increased Ghana's COVID-19 case count to 24,518. The number of discharged persons after treatment has shot up to 20,187, while death toll stands at 139. The Ghana Health Service also confirmed that there are currently 4,192 active cases. The new cases were recorded from samples that were taken from June 17 to July 8, 2020. Over 2,000 new cases have been recorded in the last 3 updates from Ghana Health Service. And when we look at the case count per region, from highest to lowest, Greater Accra region 13,404, Ashanti region 5,254, Western region is now at 2,128, Central region 1,110, Eastern region 931, Volta 390, and the list goes on and on and on. The least region right now is the Northeast region with 9 cases. Last week we heard of a lot of companies, institutions closing down to fumigate as some of their employees test positive for coronavirus and as they are also waiting for the results of their tests. This morning on the front page of the Ghanaian Times, we are learning that 10 more senior high schools have been hit by coronavirus. And those schools, so I'm going to read from page 12 of the Ghanaian Times. And it says here, 10 more senior high schools in the country have recorded positive cases of coronavirus disease, bringing the number of schools infected with the disease to 14. The schools include Mauli and Mauko Girls Senior High School in the whole municipality, the Bishop Herman College in Kwando, and Dabala Technical School, all in the Volta region. The rest are Archbishop Porter Girls, Ahantaman Girls, Diabene and Adiembra SHS, all in the Takoradi municipality, as well as in Siam SHS in the Nzima East District, and the Suhum Senior High Technical School in the Western and Eastern region, respectively. In the Volta region, the Mauli and Dabala Technical Schools had recorded 3 cases of the disease each, 2 cases at the Bishop Herman College, while a case had been confirmed at Mauko Girls Senior High School. Similarly, 8 cases had been recorded at the Insiam Senior High School, while 1 case each in Siam Senior High School, while 1 case each had been recorded at the Archbishop Porter Girls, Ahantaman Girls, Diabene and Adiembra Senior High Schools, all in the Western region, as well as one case in the Suhum Technical Senior High School. In all, 35 students out of the over 300,000 students have contracted the disease. However, they are all said to be doing well. So I'll start with you on this, Lawyer Jantwa. First, on the new cases we've recorded, the country is now at 24,518 positive cases. We've lost 139 lives to this disease. And we're seeing now that a lot of senior high schools are also contracting the disease. And this is at the back of a lot of institutions, or some institutions, closing down to fumigate last week because they recorded cases of coronavirus.
Good morning again.
Good morning.
And good morning to our listeners and viewers. Dziffa, can I start with a quote? I saw a quote over the weekend, and this is what it says, and I quote. It says, "When you can't control what is happening, challenge the way you respond to what is happening. That's where the power is."
Who's it by?
I just saw it.
Okay.
It didn't give me
Very
who said
powerful.
it. Yes.
What do you make of it?
So, if I'm basing my argument on this quote, are we challenging the way we respond to what is happening? Look, the dangerous thing about the students is that how many did we start with in March? How many people did we start with in infections and people dying?
Most.
Where are we today? Why do we think that if we isolate those who are infected in the schools, that would be it? The same trajectory we are seeing with the virus within communities and within the people is the same trajectory we'll find in the schools. So how should we challenge it? And Dziffa, I still continue to maintain testing as much as possible. Wherever we're going to find the money, and if we're only going to concentrate the testing in the schools alone, let's find the money and do it. Because as you rightly said when you were in the first segment, students are very, very important. Our children are very, very important to us. Look, somebody like me, okay, I pray that I don't get corona. I pray, but if I get corona, and corona takes me away, at least you sit here and say, we knew Mr. Janto. Oh, he was vice chair of PIAC. He was this, he was that, he was that. You have some kind of plethora of things that I've done, no matter how small. What about our young ones? What can we say? If my son contracts it today, what can I say he was able to do for this country? Can't say anything, because his life has been cut short at a very early age. And so, for me, testing. Now, if it so happens that we decide not to test, and how many schools did you say today? How many are there?
10 more schools, so the total number is now 4.
Okay. Last week or 2 weeks ago, how many schools were there? About one or two?
Yeah.
Three.
Unless we have 7 more.
And now 7 more. Who says we're not going to get 11, 12, 13, 14, 15?
No, this is 10 more in addition to the 4. So according to
So
Ghana Times, it's 14 in total.
So who says tomorrow we are not going to get a 15? The following day 16. By the end of the week, 18. Is it not rising? So let's look at it very, 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 very specifically and say to ourselves, is this thing working? Yes, the students have to have the exams, but are their lives much more important than the exams? If one country in West Africa has been able to say, to hell with it, we're not going to do any exams because of corona, why don't we follow the same route? Yes, I hear the argument. Then some are saying that, then you mean to say that the whole country should shut down. But at the present moment, we have institutions that have shut down.
But then globally, there are other countries where we can't, say that students shouldn't continue to get their education because we're dealing with a pandemic, especially when we don't know when it's going to end.
So let me tell you something I learned this weekend. I learned 2 things this weekend. There was a survey on CNN with regards to the different states and how they handled the pandemic. No, not
States
even
in the US.
not even US.
Okay.
The world.
Okay.
They were
Different
comparing.
countries.
Yeah, they were comparing how countries had handled the virus, comparing to the states, and all those countries at the present moment who have seen a downturn locked down early.
But we also did a partial lockdown very
and
early.
lockdown for a duration of time. Even Vietnam.
But we did that as well. We had a partial lockdown for 3 weeks.
Has it worked?
We closed down schools, closed down churches.
Did it work?
We could have been worse off if we hadn't done that.
So, didn't you realize that when we locked down for that short duration of time, we were in control? Why did we lift it the time we lifted it? Don't you think it should have gone on for a little while?
Would we have been able to afford that as a developing country?
Whatever we needed to do to make sure that it happened, we should have done it. As difficult as it would be. And right now, what are we experiencing? We're experiencing spikes. And for me, from the word go, I'm intimated that let's lock down for the next 3 months. In regions that didn't have it, in regions that, let's lock down for the last 3 months.
Where would we get the capital to make that happen? Because we're in a country where if people don't go out to hustle for a day, they don't even know where their next meal is coming from. We don't have the luxury that other countries have to pay their citizenry to stay home.
That is an indictment on our politics in this country and our economy in this country.
Really?
Yes, it's an indictment. Poverty is a mindset. Poverty can be cured. And all along the way, and I can only start in the Fourth Republic. It would be unfair to go outside the Fourth Republic. It goes to show that in the Fourth Republic, we haven't been able to do the needful things that would give people the purchasing power to live on their own.
But we had debt from previous administration.
It has mounted up. Look.
Yeah, so is it fair to say from the Fourth Republic going home, we didn't have a clean slate economically?
From 2012 onwards, we have been handling crisis on and on and on and on and on. Even with this government, we've had crisis.
Okay.
How do you expect people to be able to have the wherewithal when you are managing crisis all the time? There has to be a time where we can handle those crises.
Okay.
And you see, the other thing is that we say, well, democracy. In my language, sense, it's not in one person's head. So areas where we can find that others can contribute, let's do it to lift this country up.
Thank you.
Second thing.
Please wrap up.
Second thing, I learned that the blood types of people are very important where COVID is concerned. I learned from CNN this weekend that blood type A, those with blood type A are ones who, when they contract the COVID, are likely to die than those with blood type O.
Interesting.
Now,
we'll have to look into that.
Now,
research.
yes. Now, if that is the case, what are our scientists doing here? Because really, we haven't heard our scientists come out to say anything apart from the Geno thing they did. Since then, have we heard anything else? Is it that they are not empowered? Is it that they don't have the money? Because the solution to this thing should come from us and us alone.
Thank you very much for that. And I'm coming to you now, Elvis. Your thoughts on the numbers, the positive cases we have now, and what's happening in our schools?
Well, is COVID real? Yes. Is COVID dangerous? Yes. Am I afraid of COVID? Yes. Do I want us to win the battle against COVID? Yes. But we have to do all this based on empirical evidence.
Okay.
Every country is fighting the disease in a different way.
Yeah.
Because people are studying their peculiar circumstances and are finding ways out of what they think is appropriate at a particular point in time. This sickness we are fighting, it is only at the end of the day that we can really do a proper assessment and determine which country actually fought it well and which country didn't do well. If you look at South Korea, which was among the first countries to have fought it well, today they are back to the system. So what I always say is that we have put people in charge. They are taking decisions and telling us what we should do. I believe strongly that we should, until we have the reasonable cause to question what they are asking us to do, we should just do it.
Okay.
Because I believe that when we fight it based on our own empirical evidence, we will win this battle. There is this tendency where we are always trying to compare ourselves to others. I don't think that we can win this battle with that.
Why?
Because others may have different circumstances. That is why they are taking certain decisions. They may have had their own data. They may have studied the trend of the disease in their country.
But we had the benefit of hindsight. The entire time they were battling, we could have learned from that experience.
No, that doesn't mean that if you implement what you do, it will work. China told us that the lockdown has worked for them. But how many countries today say that during lockdown, the cases didn't go out? In fact, in India and Pakistan, even it was in lockdown that they were recording the highest number of cases. So there is no one magic bullet of addressing the disease. That's why I believe that let's stick to the knowledge our people are gathering in terms of what they are going through on a daily basis to take decisions.
Okay.
I said this in view of the fact that when this Madagascar brouhaha propaganda started, we put so much pressure on our government that our people are not doing well. We are the star of Africa. We are dimming the light of Africa. We should have gone for COVID, organic, or whatever. We put so much pressure. Other countries rushed because probably other people put pressure on them. Today, there's no evidence that that medicine has any efficacy. Even Madagascar itself, as we speak now, is now in lockdown. People are dying. So you realize that the decision taken about people who were managing the disease at the time, that so long as there's no empirical evidence that the COVID organic has any efficacy, they are not going for it, was right. But a lot of us criticize them for that.
But let's look at the schools and compare that to institutions that just last week
for the schools
closed down when they didn't even have results of their test yet. Yet our students are in school.
I have always said that the secondary schools are our biggest test when we resume. Because I believe that so long as we have not conducted tests on people to say these ones are negative, we are sending them that they will not have contact with any other person until they finish. The possibility of cases breaking out in schools for me was real. And I was clear in my mind because I follow the disease and see how it works. So I know that calling almost 500,000 students back to school,
and teachers, and
350,000 are final year students, and they're part of Gold Track students are also in school. Gold Track students, Form 2, are also in school. We have almost 500,000 students in school. We have almost 700 or more secondary schools across Ghana. So I was of the view that no matter what we do, we are going to record cases in the schools. My concern was, how do we manage the cases in case we record them? For me, that is my concern.
Have we managed it well?
Well, I think so far, the strategy we have put in place, the management for me is good. The only thing I realized, which was problematic, is I think the people are faced with this confidentiality issue. So when they isolate the kids to the room where it's been set up, they don't want to tell the remaining students. And that creates this gap. And because every student knows that that facility or that room has been designated as those who are isolated, once some students are sent there, their mind says they have the disease. Even at the time that they have not been tested, there's no results out. Once you have been sent there, the perception is that you have it. But you have to wait for the results to come. It is because you showed the signs, that is why you are isolated. So I think that there's a little communication gap. So when those who are not isolated see it, then they begin to tell their parents that, hey, the disease is here, or some students have been put here, and we are not being told anything. So there's some information gap. So I think that GS need to come up with a strategy. If they are sending a child to that isolation room, there should be a way they should be able to give confidence to the remaining students that, okay, this person, he doesn't have the disease, but he showed the signs. We are isolating the person and calling the people to come and test the person. And until the test results is out, don't assume that the person has it. When you give the student body such information, they will be clear in their mind that, oh, okay, this is the current state. But when that information is not shared with them, all they see is that the people have been isolated. The perception will be that they are positive, that is why they have been isolated. So I think that the communication in this aspect, I think there is something missing and they need to fix.
Okay, but on a macro level as well, how do we ensure now more schools are testing positive, parents are afraid for the award? Where do we go from here to ensure that the students are safe?
The disease has only one solution: test. isolate and treat. That is what WHO has said.
But we don't have the resources to test all these students.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying.
What do we do?
That's what I'm saying, that me, until I have contrary evidence, this disease all over the world, everybody is doing what I call trial and error. Some measures you institute will work. Some may not work. You will review it because after implementing it for a while, you realize that it's not working. So you review. And that is what every country is doing, because there is no one established strategy of fighting the disease. So we have opened the schools. Almost 500,000 students, almost 700 schools. We have been told that about 14 out of 700 schools and positive cases of 35 have been recorded. What at the stage of the GA, as I last week, they said the cases are mild, so they are just treating, they are not even taking them to any, they do not demand any hospitalization. This information needs to be shared properly. If there is no danger to the life of the student, even though they contract it because it is mild and treatment will be available and it will not cost their life, I don't think that there should be any fear and panic. What happened at KNUSS has nothing to do with COVID. It's because of fear and panic.
But we also need to address the lack of emotional intelligence by some of our teachers and how that's going to make it difficult
of course.
For us, especially in a time where we're dealing with a pandemic.
Yes, that is why GA said in every school, they have established a team of teachers who are the COVID team. So in case of anything, they are the first people that must be called.
We'll take a look at teachers shortly, but we have to go for a quick break. This is still Breakfast Daily on City TV. It is an interactive show, so if you want to contribute to the conversation, use the hashtag Breakfast Daily and the WhatsApp line 0550585832. If you're outside Ghana, the country code is +233. After the break, we'll be looking at EC extending registration at delayed centers. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
There is nothing as hard as a diamond. For buildings with superior strength that withstand all weather conditions, Diamond Cement should be your preferred choice. Locate Diamond Cement nationwide with factories in Aflao, Takrady and Bupe. Diamond Cement, as hard as a diamond.
Welcome back. This is still Breakfast Daily on City TV. Thank you so much for staying with us. Again, it's an interactive show, so wherever you're watching us from, use the hashtag Breakfast Daily for us to hear from you. And our WhatsApp line is 0550585832. If you're outside Ghana, the country code is +233. I still have with me lawyer Kwame Jantua, who's a former vice chair of PIAC, as well as Elvis Darko, who's the editor of The Finder. We're discussing 14 schools now, having a coronavirus case and the way forward. We've heard the issue of KNUST High School, where teachers stood by as a child or student was fighting for his life. How do we ensure that we train our teachers well enough so that parents are rest assured that the teachers will have the best interest of their children, especially when we're dealing with a pandemic? Elvis?
Yeah, so the truth is that I would want to call on GES. Like today, I expected them to have a big press conference to tell us, yes, this is the situation. Based on this and that and that. The students that are positive, this is their status. Is there anyone that requires hospitalization? Is it that all of them don't require hospitalization? So we will know actually the status of those who actually tested positive. because this is an emotional issue. If in case one child should die from COVID as a student now, the panic across Ghana will be high. So I expect GES to come out and give a lot of explanation about the current status of those who have tested positive, to give the country the clearer picture, so that this, if there is people need to be genuinely apprehensive, they will. If there is no need for the public to be apprehensive, the information will let us know. And I think they need to do that. Teachers standing by for a student to die, it just tells you that they just did not demonstrate humanity. They were totally inhuman. COVID is not a death warrant. The data today shows that over 20,000 out of the 24,000 that have the disease and that have recovered or discharged. So they are home. They no longer can infect people. So if 20,000 can recover, COVID is not a death sentence for everybody. For some people with comorbidities and some few people without comorbidity, they may die. But it's not a death sentence. So I don't expect the teacher to stand by. Take the child to hospital. If it's found that the child has COVID, you are the person who brought the person. You are the first contact to be traced and tested as well. And if you are found early, you'll be treated. So I think that we need to put this education. See, there is this fear in the system as if once you get COVID, you are dying. It's a death sentence. So people are genuinely afraid. But I don't think that we should be genuinely afraid of human beings. It's human life we are talking about. So that thing that happened at KNUS, and now it turned out that the child actually died of ulcer, not COVID. So you sit there, what have you done? So I think that teachers, and it's not only teachers, public service in this country, we know the customer service that they offer us, from hospitals to schools to all kinds of institutions. Once it's public service, poor customer service, and that is exactly what has demonstrated in the KNUST issue. And to add, we must also address the issue of patient and confidentiality issues. I know when children go to secondary school, they are made to fill form. Parents are to disclose their health status if there's a unique health case to at least the administration, and maybe the housemaster is made aware. But we are in a system where one class is taught about 5 or 6 teachers because it's subject teaching. Is it time that we make the health status of every student to every teacher that teaches in that class, so that if something happens, any teacher that enters will be able to know? Are we willing to say that confidentiality issue, if you come to secondary schools, we should break it and let every teacher be aware of the status of every student? I think these are issues that are also cropping up that legally we must also begin to consider as a nation. But what happened at KNUST, I don't think that the teachers showed any humanity. And that is what we are asking all teachers never to repeat in whatever they teach. They should show humanity. There is a human being that is struggling for his life. Do something about it. And for me, it was a shame that that has happened.
Thank you very much.
Just a quick one. You know, when you don't have experience in doing certain things, sometimes it's difficult to approach whatever is facing you. Happens that the teachers are not medical people, and yes, that fear is there. Let me make a suggestion. Maybe what we should start doing, we still have nurses who don't have employment. Let's train them and let's put them in these schools so that they can approach. And in putting them in the schools, we need to also provide them with PPEs to make sure that they are also protected, so that in case something like what happened in KST happens again, the nurses are there. They can approach and do it, because it could happen that the teachers don't have that experience.
But that's not
to
an
be able to do that.
excuse for them to not step in.
It is no excuse.
If someone were to fall sick right now, as a human being, your automatic reflex will be to go to that person's rescue. Sometimes you will go in before you even think that perhaps I've exposed myself.
Totally understand, but it's not everybody who's like that.
But that should be the standard,
It should
especially
be,
teachers, because at that time you are under, the child is under your care.
Unfortunately, what you're saying is what should happen, but unfortunately, sometimes that doesn't happen.
So then maybe we should look at weaning out those individuals, because they have no business being teachers.
Sometimes, unfortunately, people think of themselves first before they think of what is happening.
Yes,
There's very few people
but Ajanta,
who
you
would
admit
attack.
with me that when you decide to be a teacher, you decide to serve people who are vulnerable and are dependent on you. Not just intellectually, but physically and psychologically as well. So you can't use that as an excuse to not serve your students.
By their training. Is that how they are trained?
When you decide to be a policeman, yours is to enforce the law. What do we see on our roads?
But is that an excuse?
So it goes to show the mindset of the Ghanaian, unfortunately. Unfortunately, what you're saying is right. You've taken a code of honor that this is what you're supposed to do. Does it happen? It doesn't. So there has to be some change of mindset. And I hope we are jotting down all these things so that after COVID, we can all have a look at it. And if we have to have a national discussion on the attitude of some of our institutions, let's do it so that going forward, we also look. I heard yesterday that the Chinese have also now discovered a new virus called Kurdistan, which is worse than COVID, and that is acute pneumonia. If it is true, then it goes to show that we are not finished with pandemics yet. So whatever we are learning from this, we need to learn, correct the mistakes so that the next pandemic that comes, we are ready for it.
Thank you very much. We'll take a look at our next story here. I'm reading from citynewsroom.com, and it says, EC to extend registration at delayed centers. The Electoral Commission will make up for the time lost at some centers where registration delayed due to network problems. Some registration centers in the country experienced technical problems as a result of a bad network. Registration could therefore not start at the stipulated time of 7 a.m. as spelled out by the Electoral Commission for the commencement of the exercise. The EC said details of the extension for the affected registration centers will be communicated in due course. The third phase of the registration started on Sunday, July 12, 2020, and will end on July 17th. Lawyer Jantua, let me start with you on this topic of the Electoral Commission extending the registration at centers that delayed, because you know that you go to some centers and they have just one machine. They are struggling with technical problems with the machine. Hundreds of people are waiting, and you're asking yourself, couldn't we have predicted this and made more machines available? But hey, I guess this is some great news that they will extend the registration.
Well, the EC already indicated that if there are going to be any challenges, they will extend the time. And so that is what I reckon they have done now. They've extended the time. But you see, it's if I can say, it's a good test for the elections. Because remember, there's no extra day in the elections. It happens once and once for all for that period. And so if we experience this type of thing, then we're in for a huge challenge. And the EC should be able to tell us how we would overcome such a situation come 7th December. They said what? It was what? Internet? And what else?
Just technical problems.
Technical problems. The EC, after this exercise, should give us a rendition of the challenges they faced, equipment that didn't work, some of the challenges that would need additional funds to correct, and they need to assess on the whole whether this was a success or whether it wasn't. And they shouldn't do it in such a way that puts people's backs up. They should have a conversation with us and they should tell us, because come December 7th, that is the D-Day. If anything decides to go haywire, then it's trouble, because politicians would now jump on it. Didn't we tell you? EC did it, and we can't afford that. So right now this has happened. Let's use it as a test case. Let's see how best we can rectify all these loopholes to make sure that on the day, 7th December, we would have a free, fair, transparent election without any challenge. And even if there are challenges, there should be challenges that could be overcome in a very short duration of time, so that we don't have to extend anything. Because you know, in this country, the moment election extends into night, major problems and major challenges. So let's hope that the EC would take this in good faith, would work with the people, would work with the stakeholders, and make sure that come December 7th, we've been able to obliterate most of these challenges.
Okay, thank you. Elvis, Isn't this a sign of perhaps, for lack of better word, poor preparation? Because technology is not as complicated as we make it, especially in this country. If we knew that we're going to register people, how difficult is it to get machinery that would work fast enough so people won't spend up to 8 hours at a registration center just because they want to get a new voter's registration ID?
Well, in 2012, we used 6,000 biometric machines. This time we are using 8,000. So at least there was an effort to recognize that population might have gone up.
But beyond population going up, we have a pandemic that we're dealing with. The EC came out to tell us that we'll spend 10 minutes at a center. Is this enough when people have spent more than 8 hours because of technical problems that we have control over?
That is the issue of technology. It's a machine. Problem will come.
Is it the technology or is it us? Because when you take the same machine somewhere else, people have ways of making it function efficiently. Technology is supposed to make our lives better, not slow down, slow us down.
It's not all the machines that are broken down. It is some. So for machines, if you are using, some will break down, some will not work. And you just have to fix it and move on. So they said they will extend it. I think that's the best thing to do because you want to register every eligible Ghanaian. So if you are going to fix it, extend the time that they lost so that they can register, I think it closes the issue. If like EC was not going to extend the time and say they are still going to do it within the time that they are allocated, it meant that you would have been denying some people the opportunity to register because you are not restoring the time that they've lost. So for me, restoring the time for it is what we need to do. This is the 12. They've done 12 days already. I think it is in the batch 2 of the first phase that we see. But the batch 1, no station ever explained it that the whole day they didn't register.
Yes, but the voters, the people themselves, the people registering themselves, said they had to be there for over 8 hours. You go to certain communities and they have just one machine.
No, but as for the people you are queuing, the numbers that are registered, the numbers are huge. So if you come, definitely have to be in the queue to get it your turn.
But the problem was that the machine, there were times when there will be problems with the machine. And my question to you is, if we know we're dealing with a pandemic, and we know that if people stay in line for a long time, chances of them mingling, touching each other will be high, shouldn't the EC have equipped all centers with more than enough machinery to speed up this process?
The EC has machine. That's what I'm saying. In 2012, we used 6,000.
Yes,
and now we are
this is
8,000.
8 years later.
And they have about 500 machines that are district offices as rapid teams that if you have a problem, call on them. See, sometimes communication, the officers that, because you see doesn't have permanent staff to that number, they have temporary staff. So they pick over 30,000 people who are temporary staff, give them some short training and say, come and work for us. So some of these things, challenges, even with the human beings that are doing the work, are likely to pop up because you cannot accommodate 30,000 staff that will be paying salary every month. So we should understand that some of their work, sometimes when there is a problem, it is because sometimes even the human beings who are manning it, during the training, did not actually take the training in detail, therefore lack certain information. What I'm saying is, so long as the EC says that they will give the people the opportunity, the lost time will be restored for them to register. I think that is the most important thing. For people say they spend 8 hours at the station, the point is if 1,000 of us go to line up to register, after all of us can register within 10 minutes, somebody will have to go for somebody to follow. So obviously somebody will keep long in the queue than another person, depending on the time you came. So as for those issues, I think that we are bound to happen. I registered at the Dansuman police station, and I said maybe because it's a police station, the queue was in order, and I didn't spend more than 10 minutes doing the process to get the registration done because there were no problem with the machines on the day that I went there. So under normal sense, the machine did not have a problem, and there's order in the queue. The registration in actual fact does not take more than 10 minutes. So what they said is not false. But when 500 people go at a go, definitely somebody has to do it before somebody. So multiplying 10 minutes times 500. Obviously somebody will spend 8 hours in the queue.
The question has to do with the machine itself and the human beings managing the machine.
Yes.
If you're managing the machine, you know the capacity of the machine. If you plan ahead, you will know how many machines you need so that you don't have to deal with some of these technical problems. That's why we can't continue to use technology as an excuse because they're human beings who are managing those machines, especially when you're registering people in a pandemic.
Dziffa, there's no way you deploy 8,000 machines and some will not develop fault. It is not real.
But this will be fine if the ones who are developing problems were the outliers. But when you go to when you have this as the norm, then it's a problem.
Real. It's not real that you are deploying 8,000 machines to run a system and you think that all of them will work consistently. Even in our own offices, our computers break down at a time we don't expect them.
Yes.
These are machines. So there is no way you tell me
that's
that
not the norm
machines,
that you bring machines.
What's the percentage of breakdown compared to the 8,000 machines? You see, sometimes we have
when you put one machine in an entire community, 10 machines
break down, and they are using 6,000 or 7,000. And out of 7,000, 10 or 15 breaks down. And then we make it look as if all the 7,000 machines are breaking down.
You've been to communities where you have hundreds of people and there's just one machine to all those people.
Please, they are not. You see, the problem. No, the problem is that before 2012,
yes,
the registration is done in a way that we all go at a go. From 2012, we decided that we are not going to do that because the cost of investing in biometric is expensive. So we'll do the registration in phases. So you need to know that in my area, this is what I have to do. The problem we are having, which is real, is that once we hear that they started registration, we all mass up the station, even when it is not up to our polling station. So there seems to be more people rushing to register because people fear that they may not get registered. And this thing, we started it in 2012. We are now in 2018. I am not going to hold any brief for it, but I'm saying that it's a human institution. You deploy machines over 8,000 or 6,000. It is unreal for anybody to think that 10, 15 or 20 of the machines will not have problems.
Okay.
It is not real.
Okay.
It's a machine.
Okay.
So if there are breakdowns, the question is what is the percentage of breakdown that is causing this problem? So we shouldn't take as a problem that is minute.
But the percentage must be significant enough if the EC is coming out to say we will extend registration at delayed centers. If it was very insignificant, we won't be having this conversation.
If you will give it a chance to register, because they don't have the right to deny you. So if you lose 2 hours, they will add it. Even if it's only one police, that's a problem. So it's not about
the point is, when we have a pandemic on our hands, we could do more to prepare.
Like that. The machines have been procured, programmed, they are working, and maybe out of 6,000.
So you are content with what's happening?
I am being real, but there's no way you can deploy 6,000 machines or 7,000 machines, and none of them will develop.
And you think that there's nothing we could have done about people spending 8 hours because of technical problems with machines?
What can we do by a machine that decides to break down?
That's fine.
You can be driving your car that you took from home. Everything is working, and the next time you apply the brake, and the brake is not working. What do you do about it?
Such things
you go to the shop to go and fix it. It's a machine. It won't talk to you that I'm going to break down.
We'll move on now.
Dziffa, just a small contribution. Maybe what the EC should do is to find out in what areas do you have a huge population of people registering. And in those areas, you make sure that you have backup machines. Because definitely, the numbers aren't the same everywhere. There are some places where you have a much smaller number of people registering, and there's some places where you have a huge quantum of people registering. And one thing we found about the machines is that because it's on 24/7 and the people are plenty, it gets hot and then sometimes it doesn't work. That is what we've realized. Now, with regards to the internet, the EC has no control over the internet, but they should be able to work with the internet providers to make sure that the internet that is serving these different areas should be up to scratch. And if it's not up to scratch, we should have backup. Well, I mean, we have mobile internet appliances. We should have backup so that people don't have to stand, let's say, if this was dry season, and the weather wasn't cool, they're standing under the sun for nearly 8 hours. Now, the fact that it's even happened in a small locality of the schools goes to tell us that it can happen when we come to the bigger voting election. So let's take heed from it and let's see how best we can make sure, whether we have 8,000, 9,000, 10,000 machines, just make sure that when it happens, we can come and fix the machines as quickly as possible so that we don't disenfranchise anybody, so that nobody stands in the queue for 8 hours and they'll come and tell you that, come tomorrow. It is something that we need to work at. It is something that we can't do anything about because it has to happen. And so let's put our heads together and make sure that we can sort this problem out once and for all.
Thank you very much, Lawyer John. So we have some messages from you guys, so I'll read them shortly. Kofi Sika from Cape Coast North Constituency says, did I hear that the economy couldn't have supported a further lockdown? then where lies the resilience of the economy? From Ankoma Foster, he says, our mentality to fight this coronavirus pandemic has become the problem. Let us continue to wear our mask and stop using the virus for politics. Tofik from Kaswa says, today marks the 14th day of the voters' registration exercise. As good citizens of Ghana, let's show our patriotism by coming out in our numbers to register to vote come 7th December. Keep those messages coming. The hashtag is Breakfast Daily and the WhatsApp line is 0550585832. If you're outside Ghana, the country code is +233. We'll take a look at our final story, and it has to do with the ex-staff of savings and loans companies, and they are going to be paid their outstanding salaries and related claims. I'm sure a lot of them are very happy this morning. I'm reading from citynewsroom.com, and it says here, government is set to pay for the outstanding salaries as well as negotiated the exit packages of former employees of the defunct 347 microfinance companies and 23 savings and loans companies. This was disclosed in a statement by the receiver, Eric Nana Nipa, who doubles as a director of PricewaterhouseCoopers Ghana Limited, and goes on to say, according to the receiver, this is to alleviate the economic impact of the resolution exercise on former employees of the affected companies, particularly as the economic impact of the COVID-19 pandemic is having a toll on individuals and businesses. So this same story is on City Business News, as you're reading there on your screen, and I'm reading from City Newsroom as well. Lawyer Jantwa, your thoughts on this?
Well, let me start by looking at the laws that govern the company that is going to pay this money. And remind me who they are again.
The receiver.
Yeah, the receiver.
He doubles as the director of Pricewaterhouse Company Limited.
Okay.
Right.
So if you go to the laws that mandate the receiver to do what they're doing, there's
is it the Act 930?
The Act 930. It says that, and I quote, in line with the hierarchy of creditor claims set out under Act 930, other creditors of the failed institutions will be settled by the receiver upon validation of their claims. That's one. And to the extent that the receiver is able to realize value from the remaining assets of these institutions. So, where is the money coming from? The money that we're going to use to pay, where is it coming from? I understand there are about 200 million of these depositors and creditors. Is that money coming out of the sale of assets of these micro institutions? Is that where the money is coming from? Or government has actually set aside money for it? So if it so happens that in terms of the sale of the value, the sale of these assets, if it doesn't realize the quantum of money that can cover these number of people, what is going to happen? Maybe you'd be able to tell me, or Elvis may be able to tell me.
No, it's not from sale of assets. The government is bailing them out.
Well, but this is what it says here. I'm not quoting it from my head.
No, it's explaining that by the process, that is what has been done. So I went further to explain that because that process has not been concluded, if they want to conclude, it means these people have to take a longer time before they will get whatever they are supposed to get.
Yes,
so government is bailing them out now, whilst it will allow that process to continue until it ends.
Yes, but
it means that government will be refunded in case it is found.
But it's not clear here.
No, it's in the statement.
Yeah, but it's not clear here.
It's not clear.
It's not clear
here.
Because hang on. When it says that the receiver,
and we have just 1 minute
the receiver
left.
Upon validation of their claims, and to the extent that the receiver is able to realize value from the remaining assets.
It's talking about the process.
Well, it's not clear.
No,
the point I'm making, Elvis, is that it's not clear.
No, you didn't read the full statement.
We have the full statement
here. No, the full statement down explains that.
The full statement goes on to...
What you are saying is the process. The receiver is telling them that if we were to follow the process, we need to validate your claims. After we validated your claims, we need to recover assets, which means that you have to go to the Registrar General to liquidate the company and recover assets. Whatever is recovered, when they get it, they share for all the share. There's a long list of people who are supposed to be paid, who should be paid first, second, third, fourth, until the bottom. And therefore, if they wanted to follow that process, that's what they should have done. But in view of COVID and the fact that the companies have collapsed for some time now, the workers are facing hardship. So government has decided to bail them out to pay them their entitlement. This is only in relation for workers.
Well, if that is the case, then they shouldn't have used this.
Okay.
Because here I am, sitting reading this, and you know that is not the process you are going to follow. Why tell me the process?
Okay.
You don't need to tell me the process.
Okay.
You need to just tell me that government has put X amount of money in place. This is the process we are going to use to pay people, and that's it.
The process is meant for the staff of the
the
things they need to do.
Exactly. Just tell us that. Okay. This is the money government has voted. This is the process we are going to follow. Period.
All right.
I don't need to know this one.
I was going to take Elvis, but you've already clarified it for us. So thank you very much. Elvis Darko is the editor of The Finder, and of course, lawyer Kwame Jantua is the former vice chair of PIAC and a member of CPP. We received a lot of your messages, but unfortunately we have run out of time. But Innocent, Paul Walker, as well as Ralph Kelly all sent in messages from Facebook. Don't go anywhere. Up next, we'll be talking to state-registered nutritionist Akosia Konedu Yadam about eating meals that will help us feel good. We'll be right back.
Ghanaians don't always agree, and that's fine as long as we respect each other and play by the rules. It doesn't matter who you vote for. What matters is that you make your voice heard and that every vote counts. A new clean voters registry ensures that no matter who you vote for, democracy always wins. Go out to register today.
Tune in to The Point of View this and every Monday and Wednesday at 9 p.m. as I, Bernard Avile, get the right guests, ask them relevant questions on issues that matter to you.
What is the funding that we need? Do we actually sit down and leave things as they are? Or should we get more funding so that we can change how we do business as usual?
Even if you think of geopolitics and geoeconomics, we are entering an age where China wants to build its own internet, and we are seeing a new arms race, a technological arms race.
To be honest with you, it's politics. There are different dynamics in politics. I'm sure some people didn't give anything, some people gave some. It depends on the people you're working with.
Remember, The Point of View is live every Monday and Wednesday at 9 p.m. only on City TV.
Point of View is powered by Airtel Tigo Extra. Even our bonus data doesn't expire. You the film? Dial *111# to activate now. Airtel Tigo. Life is simple.
Imagine if you can get all the understanding on some of the difficult subjects you struggle with in school. As a student, do you feel dissatisfied with how hard it is to figure out a subject you're learning? Or as a parent or guardian, do you worry that your child is struggling to understand some of the subjects in school? Well, now you don't need to sign up for extra lessons or tutors. Simply tune in to Class Act, Mondays to Thursdays at 5:30 p.m. on City TV. Class Act is a show that seeks to enable senior high school students gain a much better understanding of what they you learn in school. All you need is a TV, a chair, your notebook, and your pen. Get clarity on subjects such as maths, English, IT, and science. Class Act airs every Monday to Thursday at 5:30 p.m. on City TV, on DSTV channel 363 and GoTV channel 182. Don't forget your pens, pencils, and your notebooks, and tune in to Class Act, only on City TV.
There are those with untold stories, unraveled feats, life-changing stories, and lasting legacies. They tell their stories themselves on footprints. Yes.
Oh, at some point, well, we are taking the step. Unfortunately, he was dragging the country into an abyss. Yeah. So we saw it. But they have held power, the guns and so forth. Who were we to? We just watched. But by, I believe, 74-5, the country was seeing through him. That this man was a total misfit.
But he was a happy man.
But because in Akan there's a proverb.
Be inspired by their hard work and resilience that led to their outstanding achievements as we trace their footsteps through time.
Lincoln, we have one of our, school member want to die or whatever, so we have to go there and perform during the funeral, whatever. And then I was feeling thirsty, so there was but those days it's not like pure water or whatever. They sell the water in the bottle. Yeah, stuff like that. So there was a bottle there. I thought it was just a water. No, it was application, So I just took it when I drank it, before I realized, Charlie. So what happened to me? I was like, Charlie, I'll never touch it. So since then, I've never touched alcohol.
Okay, so you didn't drink alcohol, and you never smoked?
Smoke, no way. No.
Really?
Never.
Wow.
Never.
Then who comes out of the car? Chachu Chikata and Kojo Chikata. And the Chachu told me that they have, Kojo was sick since the morning, and he has been tortured and whatnot, and they have come for medical attention. Of course, naturally, I have to look after them, even though they are very close relatives. So I look at Kojo, I examine him, I notice that he's definitely been tortured. And there was blood, deep-seated blood in the ears, we can see that clearly.
So join me, Samuel Atamensa, and my guests every Saturday at 9 a.m. and Sundays at 4 p.m. for Footprints, only on City TV.
Footprint is sponsored by Bethel Logistics Company Limited, experts in shipping logistics.
Welcome back. This is still Breakfast Daily on City TV. Remember, the show is interactive, so let's use the hashtag Breakfast Daily, and of course the WhatsApp number 0550-585832. If you're watching from outside of Ghana, of course, the country code is +233. Now it's that time of the show where we get to talk nutrition. We know we're not in normal times, and so most people tend not to really pay attention to what they're putting into their bodies and of course the effects thereof. Now, did you know that there are certain kinds of foods that you can eat to lighten up your mood? So this morning we're going to flip the narrative a little bit. Is that look good, feel good. So we are flipping it to eat good, feel good. And of course our state registered nutritionist is here, Akua Yadom, to help us do just that. Good morning to you.
Good morning. That was a powerful intro.
How are you? How was your weekend?
I'm awesome. We're all scared.
Yeah, of course we all are. But yeah, I mean, on that note, what kind of foods can we be eating to cheer us up a little bit, to lighten our mood, especially now that most people are at home and, of course, most kids are at home as well?
Okay, so basically sticking to a healthy diet, I will start off by saying that you eating a healthy diet will go a long way to affect you as far as your mood is concerned. Being a kid, you being a couple, and the fact that now most couples are home, and so we are mostly with they are mostly with their you are mostly with your partners, and so certain things that are going on. Obviously, mood has to do with everybody, the child, the man, the woman, as far as even engagement as a couple is concerned, and a whole lot of things. So I will start off by saying that basically you eating a healthy diet, and then be conscious about you incorporating the green leafy vegetables into your meals. Yes, because of certain things they have. We'll zoom in as the conversation goes deeper, and then take healthy fats.
Okay.
So in a day, ideally, when you take the food pyramid, it's supposed to be divided into 4. The base has to do with the staples, that is the starches, the roots, our plantain, cassava, our bangkun. They all are supposed to be...
You didn't mention fufu.
Fufu, yes, fufu and mankeni or cocoyam, taro, whatever, as far as the starches are concerned, will be at the base. And your daily intake, you have to do 40% of that. Now 35% of your daily intake should also come from fruits and vegetables. I spoke about carefully incorporating leafy greens into your meals, yes. And then 20% will have to come from the animal flesh or meat, and then their products or protein. And then 5%, that is the apex, should come from sweets, sugar, fat, and all that. So when you are eating, just picture this in mind and say that to have a healthy meal, I have to make sure it is in line with the protocol as far as WHO is concerned. As far as the 4-star diet is concerned, that has to do with the fruits and vegetables, the staples, the animal flesh and protein, and then we have the healthy or essential fats. We have pulses, nuts, and seeds. So if you are taking all these, it will make sure that you are set right as far as you and the amino acids you need, the nutrients you need are concerned. And stressing on the pulses or the legumes and then the leafy green vegetables. Now, we have tryptophan, that is an amino acid deposited in these food groups or items, and they help with serotonin, which is a hormone, and that is responsible for our relaxation and we being cleared as far as stress is concerned.
Exactly. Great. Now, say we have our food plan for the day. Now the entire family is home. In between, what are the suggestions? What are some of the foods we can be taking to at least lighten the mood in the house?
Okay, so like I said, you eating in line with the 4-star diet. Obviously, you should be conscious about what you are serving. You should make sure that you are taking off refined foods, foods loaded with sugars, added colors, because there is a research that says that even children being too hyperactive is associated with sugary foods. So there is a spike as far as glucose is concerned, and obviously it will affect your mood. Now, what happens is that when your body is done exhausting all the shots you gave as far as glucose is concerned, you go back to where you were. And I always say that it's like, okay, I was here, it was bad, I was shot to somewhere good. I didn't take a gradual time or a gradual turn to move from where I am. When you are coming back, it is even heavier as far as the fall is concerned. Now, when hypo sets in or hypoglycemia sets in, it affects everything about you. Once your brain health is affected, it affects everything that has to do with you because you are your mind.
Okay, now let's break it down. Let's start from relaxation. Foods we can take to help the mind, the body relax.
So call the shots. There are images. I don't know if you can just put...
I think that we have a number of images out there. Our producer should be working on putting them up now. Yes,
we
so
have
there you have them on
that
the screen.
helps us to relax, just as you said. We have avocado, We have almonds. If you can't get almonds or can't afford almonds like myself, you can get, we have nuts. Yes, I spoke about nuts, pulses, and legumes, so you can fall on that. We have spinach. And if you can't have spinach, we have the leafy green vegetables, whatever works for you. You can take spinach, I can take kontomire, I can decide to go for lettuce, I can decide to go for broccoli. So whatever works for you as far as the dark leafy green vegetables are concerned will help you. And I love Greek yogurt. Greek yogurt contains probiotics and it's for gut health.
Okay.
Once your gut health is influenced on in a good sense, then it means that you are getting something as far as whatever affects your gut health obviously will have let's say will have an effect on your brain health, and that has to do with your mood. Like I said, what affects your brain affects your entire mood. We have oats. So now avocado reduces stress, it maintains healthy nervous system, and then it's high in vitamin B. Vitamin B is top notch as far as relaxation is concerned, as far as working on stress levels, as far as improving on your mood in a good sense is concerned. Almonds belong to the leguminous families, and I've spoken about tryptophan, which produces serotonin, that is a stress release hormone, or something that helps you to calm down. It also helps blood circulation. Obviously, if your blood circulation is affected in a positive sense, like I said, whatever our body is like a coordinated event. Once this works perfectly, it affects how
there's a flow.
Yes, it's a flow. Thank you so much. And then it removes muscle tension. So there is a reason why people will be stressed that when I had a hard day work, I am tense as far as my muscles are concerned, and so that can also affect my mood and my state of mind. So it makes you less hyperactive. So this is something you should be conscious about. If you have a child, almond milk, if you can afford. If you cannot, you can do nuts and make sure they are part of their meals. You can make a smoothies for the little one, make sure there are nuts in there, just to make sure everybody within the life cycle is benefiting. Spinach is high in magnesium. Magnesium is top notch for relaxation and release of stress. And then it can be a base for any salad, obviously. And then oatmeal, contains potassium, contains magnesium. Magnesium, I've spoken about it. Magnesium, potassium also for proper circulation as well. And so it helps once circulation is being done properly. Once you have magnesium being responsible for releasing stress, obviously it makes it a healthy meal. And I spoke about whole meals. Oat is a whole meal. So yes, it's a great example. Greek yogurt, I've spoken about it. It helps you feel better because of its richness in probiotic. If you can't get Greek yogurt, you can do plain yogurt. So these are foods that will help you. They are basic food. I can get granuts 1 cedi to buy. 50 pesos I can get granuts, and I will be shooting some goodness as far as dealing with my mood is concerned. It helps me relax.
In what quantities should these foods be taken? And are there specific times of the day?
There are handy measures. You are an adult. Obviously, what you are taking shouldn't be the same thing a child is taking. Now, we have to be guided as far as even the portioning is concerned. And when you're a family who plans your meal, you obviously will appreciate whatever I'm talking about, because no single food will give you every nutrient you will need. You need the vitamin A, you need the vitamin B, you need the vitamin C, you need everything to make sure your whole body is moving. You need your legs, you need your eyes, you need your head, you need your hands. So you need every single nutrient, every amino acid, every macro and micronutrient to make sure you are set on a good part as far as nutrition is concerned. So basically, doing a healthy breakfast, obviously I would want to do that nuts with, let's say, 2-3 fingers of banana for my snack moments. Yes. Why are you laughing? Because you want to do a bunch of banana, right? You want to do a bunch of banana.
I mean, some of us, we just go at it.
Okay, so you need, there is a reason why when you go to the hospital, they don't just get up and go like, take this Parago and eat. Everything is in dosages. So it's about time you pay attention to what we are putting in us, because it's basically, it should be calculated. You can't just see a bowl of fufu and think that your body will need it. Like I said, if you do more than your body will need, kenke, a fist size, your fist size. This is my fist size. This is my guide as far as the spatula meals are concerned. That means that this should be my guide. My body will use this, and any excess. So if I'm eating, I am sedentary, I am not really active, I am not a mason, I'm not a carpenter, I am not really actively engaged. I am a banker sitting, I come to work, I sit, I only get up when I have to use the washroom or go for lunch. I don't need that much. Excess glucose will cause a spike, and once it goes down, hypo sets in, now you'll be found wanting. It will affect your mood. Yes, so for nuts and adults like me, a handful should be okay. Your handful should be okay. Banana, and adults normally in meal planning, because like we spoke last week, an adult you need 2,000 as a woman to maintain, a man you need 2,500 to maintain, and that will have to do with your breakfast, your lunch, your supper, including your 2 snacks. And so you have to spread so that everything you can benefit from all the nutrients, because when we started, I even spoke about the fact that 40% staples, 35%, 20 and 5%, so that you know, you look well calculated. You are looking dapper.
Oh, thank you. You're not looking bad yourself.
Thank you so much. So there is a reason why people stay this way for long. There is a reason why this person is staying long. Sometimes genetics, like myself, I'm so lucky. Genetics has contributed to me looking this way for like almost 10 years. But if you are conscious about what you are putting in your system, obviously you won't go wrong with it.
Awesome. Now let's look at the energy boosters, the foods that we can take to boost our energy levels. I say we are home, there's so much to do, so much responsibility with the kids and all that, working from home at the same time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you tend to get fatigued on and off. So what are some of the foods that will serve as energy boosters? I think we're going to have some come up on the screen
so
in a
vitamin
bit.
A-rich foods, they are good for energy. It helps with regulation, maintaining immune system. Everything that has to do with your immunity will set you on a good path. So vitamin E-rich foods, they are good. The examples there, the leguminous families, you can't get it from. They are here. And then we have the leafy green vegetables. And I love this. This talks about the 4-star diet. And so we have fruits. It's loaded in fiber, it is low as far as sugar is concerned, and it has a low glycemic index. We have whole grains, it is whole, it provides high amounts of fiber. So as far as glycemic index is concerned, it has to do with how quick sugar is being pumped into your system by what you are consuming or eating. So whole meals, they are low as far as glycemic index is concerned, as compared to the refined ones, which has fiber and some nutrients stripped off or taken away. Nuts and seed, obviously. I've spoken about legumes. I've spoken about fruits and vegetables. Legumes, fruits, vegetables, tryptophan, nuts and seeds. So it's like almost 2/3 of everything we've projected here will help you as far as tryptophan is concerned. And tryptophan is responsible for serotonin, which is for putting you in a good mood. So once you are in a good mood, your energy levels are also in check. And why are we doing whole meal fruits? We realize that these ones are fresh and healthy alternatives because they don't spike your sugar levels. When you have foods which are lower in glycemic index, it means that it wouldn't cause a sugar spike as compared to, let's say, refined foods, refined syrups, or let's say drinks which has syrup in there. So that is what these foods will do. It will make sure you have the right amount of glucose in your system and there is no unnecessary spike.
Right. Now let's touch on that one that I know will excite my uncle watching from home. The aphrodisiacs. I mean, within these times, there's so much to do. Well, you might be home with your partner, of course, but then the brain will be preoccupied because you have the kids to attend to, you have the office calling you to put in some work from home. Then, of course, you are thinking of the monthly budgets, the bills to pay and all that. So perhaps your mind might travel a little bit away from that side of life as well. So let's look at foods that can help spice that up, the aphrodisiacs.
Okay, so we are not talking about that. Yes, I know through book. You know through experience that sexual intercourse has a greater thing to do as far as blood circulation is concerned, because the erection and the hardness is as a result of blood flow. Yes, and so it helps you to stay hard. It helps you to also stay on the edge as far as drive is concerned.
Okay.
And then it boosts, what do you call it, sperm count.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and then
Yeah.
it helps with erectile dysfunction in men.
Awesome.
So if you have potassium, if you have magnesium. There is vitamin C, which is also good for boosting immune health.
Okay.
There is iron in there. There is vitamin E also in there. So once circulation is affected on in a positive sense, and you can have just a glass, let's say 6 to 8 ounces of watermelon, pure watermelon juice, and then you can dip, let's say, half teaspoon of ginger in there, and it will work excellently for you as compared to the other artificial aphrodisiac. So if you are taking coconut water, if you are taking ginger, if you can make them into smoothies or juices like I spoke about, these two combination. But please don't abuse it. Sometimes it's very difficult for me when I have to talk about these things, because once they realize that it is so good, everybody wants to jump on it, and the next thing is people are seriously abusing it. So coconut water, tiger nut, they are all rich in magnesium. Magnesium for proper circulation. It helps you to distress or calm you down. Dark chocolates, strawberry. There's a reason why, a friend was telling me, there's a reason why when you go out, there are certain foods we serve. Pepper is also a natural aphrodisiac. So there's a reason why certain foods are served. And then go for lean part as far as protein is concerned. The lean meat. An example of a lean part of chicken has to do with the breast. It has no fat there. And then when you are buying meat, go for the lean part. So the lean part, you realize that it comes with no fat, almost, it could be 0 or almost 0 fat. So I hope that I've spiced your morning up for the men as far as the aphrodisiac is concerned. So you can work with these few examples I have spoken about. Yes, tried, researched, tried and tested. Yes, but basically you sticking to a healthy diet and you making sure you are eating well, as far as everything we've spoken about, will go a long way to influence you in a positive sense.
Awesome. But what part does working out or exercises play in all this?
Okay, so nutrition and exercise is a great component. Whatever will help you as far as your general well-being, your circulation is concerned, will help. I've spoken on this segment, I think some weeks ago, saying that at least don't go beyond, let's say, 40, but at least, let's say, 35, 40 minutes, 45 minutes, between 35 to 45 minutes daily workout will go a long way to help you. And yes, this is recommended for people who are not too active. I come to work, I sit in my car, AC car, move to the office. I am basically immobile as far as making good use of my body is concerned. Obviously, you will need to do it. But if you are somebody who has to walk due to how your schedules are or your work is, amazing wouldn't need to work out. What is he doing with the workouts? So depending on where you are, if you are a sedentary person as far as your work plan is concerned, there is a reason for you to be conscious about incorporating exercise into your daily routines.
Also, now, finally, how dangerous is it combining some of these foods? I'm asking because some may contain 1 or 2 vitamins or amino acids that may not work together. So how dangerous is it combining foods you are not sure of?
Okay, so I always say that it is better to try foods or fruits, especially in solos. So that you can check out, like we have spoken, as far as this conversation is concerned, we are focusing on children as well. They are young ones, and this is a time, especially for people, for the children who have just moved from, let's say, exclusive breastfeeding and are moving on to complementary feeds or the family foods. It's a time for you to really study and know if this works for my baby or this does not work for my baby. I am not comfortable with pineapple. I may try to take it, but if I have orange and watermelon, I will go for them. But I know that vitamin C heavily sits in let's say, pineapple, but I will go for orange, which also has vitamin C in there. So you'd have to know your body type. For that one, I can't sit here and say that, okay, this fruit is not good, this is not good. I gave watermelon and ginger, and it is a powerful combination to go with. So don't be too aggressive. Don't try it because I heard that, oh, tiger nut is good, this is good, so I want watermelon, I want ginger, I want tiger nut. You don't need a single nutrient, like I said. And just taking this, if you want to influence on your sex drive, ginger and watermelon. That is so simple. It will help you as far as the drive is concerned. And let me finally say this. Be conscious about what you give to children. What we put in their lunch boxes, they are not going to school. Yes, if you are giving children, including us as adults, if you are loading our meals with sugars or added sugar, it will influence us in a bad way as far as our mood is concerned, because most of these contain artificial coloring, especially the E150D. They mostly will write it. We don't read labels. So it's about time we paid attention to labels and know what we are feeding ourselves and our children with.
Awesome. State-registered nutritionist, amazing stuff there. That my uncle I mentioned of, I'm sure he has a number of questions for you. Right? He has been abusing that thing they call Michigoro so much. So I'm sure you'd have, a number of questions for you. So where can he find you?
Okay, so on Instagram at the nutritionist Akosia, and then on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, nutritionist Akosia. You can reach me also on 0243-350206.
All right, thank you very much, guys. Interesting conversation there on the nutrition segment. Now you know what to take, how to take it. Let's queue for entertainment highlights. Let's see what's trending. Let's see what's happening in the world of entertainment.
Welcome to Entertainment Highlights on Breakfast Daily. My name is Akua. The first edition of Stoneboy's Beam Skills Training Workshop was held at the St. Augustine's Catholic Church premises at Ashaman last Friday. Under the auspices of the Livingston Foundation, a charity organization founded by the dancehall artist Stoneboy, the workshop offered training to those who wanted to learn skills to equip them to become entrepreneurs. The Beam Skills Workshop covered areas such as small-scale farming, entrepreneurial development training, food and agro-food processing, fashion accessories production, production of household cleaning products, natural cosmetic production, and fashion designing. The trainers also guided the over 40 participants to learn advanced techniques to help them complete everyday tasks more efficiently. According to Stoneboy, who spoke at the program, this initiative was inspired by the recent scourge that the coronavirus outbreak has left our business the world over, leaving most people unemployed. Ghanaian rapper Medical has announced his bid to run for presidency in the future. According to the Omada hit maker, he has a dream of leading the nation in the next few years as president by the year 2040. He made this announcement on his Instagram page. Jada Pinkett Smith has opened up about singer August Alsina's claims that he had a relationship with Will Smith's blessing. Jada Pinkett Smith says she had a romantic relationship with the singer August Alsina while she and Will Smith were going through a temporal separation. The actress dedicated an entire episode of her Facebook Watch show, Red Table Talk, to discuss August Alsina's allegations that they had romance. She was joined by Will Smith for Friday's episode.
To change your Sunday night for the better.
Prophecy is not for useless things and loose, frivolous things. Prophecy is for weightier matters.
We'll bring you the most captivating guests and explore the most amazing stories. Your way to stardom was really planned.
Calculated. It was falling in place.
I wanted like a specific future for myself. First, I'm gonna gain my popularity. Second, health must come from it. The life became upside down like this.
You know it. We will dazzle you with real life situations and examine mind-blowing topics.
Obedience says he can pay me. I want to show him cash. Good one.
So is that what it's about?
Oh yes, I'll prove to this guy. Cash. Draw your swords. Deuteronomy 8:3. Charge.
Join me, Frema Dunyame,
and me, Akua, every Sunday at 7 p.m. on City TV. Are you ready?
Upside Down, every Sunday, 7 p.m. only on City TV.
comprehensive news. The City Newsroom at 8 p.m. on City TV is your most engaging news bulletin on TV.
It's a very that's too bad. The youth are still throwing stones. They are still throwing stones here into our direction. And can I come in? I want to come in. Okay.
Telling your stories better with correspondence covering every corner of the country.
Getting access to potable water is a daily struggle for residents of Kakichekopi and Balekopi communities in the Ada East district of the Greater Accra region.
City Newsroom at 8 p.m. Very fluent with issues that concern you.
This inquiry me come from Mr. Rabbi. Someone is in a bread. Told you kind of a 1 week. What do you say?
Is it unfair? What all this? What all this? We are dying! We are dying! We are dying for Choco!
With City Newsroom, your community is now connected.
In this our community, all of our we are there.
Okay. Tuna sandwich is basically 2 slices of bread. Okay. With a filling. So it can either be anything that you think you can fill it with. Yes, but today we are going to do tuna sandwich.
So what are the most essential ingredients we need? And now help you wash your hands and then you help me wash my hands too. What are the most essential ingredients we need for a tuna sandwich?
Yeah, for the tuna sandwich, we need a tuna.
Okay.
Yes, okay.
That's
and
the
then,
most important.
Yes, and then we need the vegetables. So today we have here cucumber, we have onions, we have lettuce.
Okay.
We can have more.
Oh, you can have more.
Yes,
so if someone wants to add green pepper, all kinds of things, that's up to them.
Yes, you can even add something to the
tuna as well if you want more protein.
Protein, yes.
Okay. Where do we start?
So we start with our filling.
Okay.
So we are going to pour everything
in here.
Yes.
Okay, and help me wash my hands too in case you need me to help you with anything. Okay, let me get a little bit first. I'll get it there. Perfect. So, can you do tuna sandwich without onions? Because I see that that's one ingredient that people always add to their tuna.
Yes, you can, because not everybody likes onions. Yes, so you can. So it's basically a filling. So the filling that you think you are okay with, you can just use that. Yes. Okay. So
we can put this down.
It's okay.
Yes.
So you can do it without the tuna, without the
onions.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So you are going to pour everything in here, and then we mix. It's washed already, so let me just wipe it. We put everything in here.
Okay.
And then.
And we've already diced the vegetables.
Yes.
So if you're home, you would have to, dice it in small cubes first. Yeah. So we have our onions first.
And then
we add the almighty tuna, which is our protein.
So the tuna, it's in the can. So you always have to make sure that you drain the water.
Okay.
Yes, from it.
Okay. So we drain the water out, or oil, whatever it is that's in the
whatever
can.
that's in it.
This one is the cucumber.
Exactly.
Okay.
So they are all diced into smaller cubes so that you can mix it and have it. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. And then we have our
mayonnaise. If you're lactose intolerant or all these things, you can do without it, right?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Like I said, the filling, it's
optional.
Yes, you can just use whichever one you feel it's okay with you.
But what does the mayonnaise do for the mayonnaise? What's its function? It's supposed to bind everything together?
Yes, it helps to bind it. So if you're not okay with the mayonnaise, you can even use egg.
Oh,
egg yolk, you can use that too. Some people even use, what do you call it, groundnut paste.
Groundnut paste?
Yes.
Wow.
It depends on how you're going to. You can you can just put the groundnut paste in it. And
or you can even use avocados if you want.
Yes, you can use avocados too, yes.
Okay.
So you just take a little bit of
mayonnaise.
And then just to spice it, you add a little bit of white pepper, black pepper, sorry.
Okay. But you can also use white if you want to.
Yes, you can also use white if you want to.
Okay.
You can also add a little pepper if you want. I know some people like pepper, so you can also add that too. And then we mix.
Wow.
But you have to dice this one too.
Oh, this.
You have to cut them into slices and then.
Okay, so should I help with that or you do it?
Yes, you can help me with the bread.
Okay, so I'll just spread.
Yes.
some
just
butter on
thinly,
the-
yes, just thinly, not too much.
So this is margarine, but if you want to use butter at home, you can use
that
butter.
too, yes.
If you want to make guacamole and put that on, you can do that as well.
You can use coconut spread. You can use honey to do that too.
So that's also optional?
Yes, yes, yes.
So there we have our butter bread. And you can use wheat bread as well. I'm personally a big fan of
wheat bread.
Wheat bread.
Yes,
so
that's
I would
also
usually
good.
use wheat bread instead of the butter bread. Okay, so we have our bread.
You know, we tuna is protein, and we need protein. So tuna, you need to add the protein. You need to add the protein to the bread, which is basically carbohydrate.
Yes.
Yes.
So you have a balanced.
Yes, so you have a balanced diet. So you have your vegetables too in there, just to give it a balanced diet. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. So what are we going to do now? We've already mixed up our...
Yes. And with this one, you can add a little bit of salt.
Okay, if you want to.
Yes.
Okay, just for taste.
Yes.
Okay.
So you can mix this with that.
With that, if you want
just
to.
Made a bed and then put this one on it too.
Okay.
I want to start.
Nice. So. Wow, it looks delicious and in the spirits of being selfless, I'm going to nominate Nana Tuffour Boateng to be our taste master this morning and let us know how well we've done with the sandwich.
A little bit on that.
Okay.
And then press it a little bit.
Okay.
So at this point, we're going to cut it.
Okay. Should I have done the same to this as well?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I've been slacking. Okay, so you put the tuna first.
Yes.
So we're almost done, and our judge is going to be joining us shortly to tell us how we did.
Hold it.
Ah, nice.
And we
Tuffour. Good morning.
Good morning, Dziffa. This looks
How's it
great.
going? Are you ready to tell us how well we did?
Yeah.
First of all, do you like sandwiches? Are you a sandwich guy?
I do.
Not really into sandwiches like
My
that.
wife actually loves sandwiches, so.
Shout out to your wife.
Yeah. We do a lot of sandwiches at home.
So you want to try one and tell us how well we've done this?
Yeah, with yours, we can. There are two ways that we can do it. You can decide to cut the edges.
Oh, please go for it. You're the professional.
When you cut the edges, it shouldn't go wasted.
Okay.
What you can do the next day is you can just put this one there. That's parts you took off in the fridge. The next day you can just break eggs.
Ah, if you don't really like the sides, you can do that.
Just break eggs.
Okay.
And then
Make a
put
French
them
toast
in.
out of it.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Yes. So for presentation, you can also have it this way.
Okay, so even before we go into the taste, and there's a question here. Someone wants to know the type of bread to use.
Bread, we don't have a specific bread. It only has to be an old bread.
Okay.
Because if it's fresh, it's very soft. Yes, so it has to be an old bread.
It's like a day or two.
Yes.
Or you can toast it as
You
well
can also
if you
put
want
it in
to
an
use.
oven, or you just leave it open for maybe a day or something, and then yes.
But that gives it a special effect or something. What does that
It
do to
makes it a little bit hard, a bit crunchy.
Okay.
Yes, so that it will not be too soft. Yeah.
Okay, so Portia, where do we follow in social media?
Yeah, so I'm just going to drop it somewhere.
Yes, drop it somewhere and
wash your
hands. And in the meantime, Portia can tell us where we can find her on social media.
Okay, I'm on Instagram.
Oh, come close.
I'm on Instagram as Cakes by Miss P.
Okay.
On Facebook, Cakes by Miss P. But on Instagram, it's Cakes by _ Miss P.
Okay,
And
Cakes
then,
by Miss P.
Yes. I'm also on Instagram as Foods by _ Miss P. That is
Nice.
where we do the food.
Wow.
Yes, and then you can also get me on 0249 70 9750.
Okay.
Yes, we are located in Tuffour, Burkina, opposite the Central School.
Thank you so much, Portia, for being with us now. Tuffour's gonna do us the honors. Can we get a drum roll, please?
You just drop this here.
An imaginary drum roll.
Enough to serve me.
Oh, okay. I thought this is serving enough. Which one do you prefer, actually? This or this?
Okay.
The world is yours this morning.
Well, I'm at liberty to choose
for options. So you can choose the one that, has...
away we go.
Yep.
Let's
see. It does. How is it? It's delicious.
It tastes good as well.
Thank you so much for being with us. And thank you guys at home for watching. Tuffour's going to continue enjoying his meal, so it's okay. If you want to make a tuna sandwich at home, remember, all you need is your tuna. If you want to add mayonnaise, you can add it. If you don't want, you can use some avocado or guacamole. The bread, you can use wheat bread. The veggies, you can be creative. The most important thing is to stay healthy and pump it with all the vegetable goodness that you can get. And you can try a different protein if you're not into tuna. Now, keyboard idol. So many young people sent in videos. They're super talented. We've not selected the finals yet, but we want to share their talent with you. So we'll take a look at some of the submissions.
Bimpe, and I'm going to play the national anthem.
I think I'll bet my money on Tamako today. What a talented young man. Of course, they're all talented.
And then that's the tax the judges are facing now. They have to sift through all those entries to pick the final 20. It's quite a Herculean task.
I can't wait to see who will make it to the final 20. I mean, they're all winners for doing what they've done. And we can't wait to share the final 20 with you. I mean, the judges are working over time to ensure that the people who make it are really people who deserve to be in the final 20.
It's going to be tough, trust me, because all the entries we've received are amazing. All these young ones are doing exceptional stuff on the keyboard, and it's super tough for the judges. But then, in the end,
we're gonna end up with some 20 very talented people. We get to follow them throughout the journey of finally figuring out who the winner will be and who will take home
keyboard idol.
Yes, that 10,000. I think I'll be best friends with that person. The minute the house is like, what's said?
Anyway, let us know what the challenges are in your communities. Whatever problem you're facing, send them to us. Take a 1-minute video, send them to us via the email address hello Mr. President TV @gmail.com, and we'll be sure to air them for, of course, the policymakers to see and prefer some solutions to those challenges. Remember, 1-minute videos, or you can even text them in through the email, of course, hello Mr. President TV @gmail.com, or send us a WhatsApp via the number 0550585832, and we'll be sure to put them out there and get some responses for you.
Definitely. Now, you know, today is July 13th. You know what day this is?
I know.
A very powerful, empathetic, amazing, supportive, I mean, everything you can think of.
Keep dropping them.
The day this man arrived on this earth, so many people's lives were touched, and we cannot celebrate him enough. Who am I talking about?
The one, the only Samuel Atta Mensah, aka Papa Don Papa One.
Happy birthday, Samuel Atta Mensah. We love you so much. We're thankful for your life. We're thankful for all the things you've done for us and the lives you've touched, and we can't wait to celebrate many years with you. We're gonna eat all day, like all week actually. Every time it's Samuel's birthday, I'm like, I'm not buying food today.
Yeah, we couldn't have asked for a better boss. God bless you so much.
God bless you, Samuel. We love you. Bye bye.